Torah. I want to begin today's lesson with a very famous Hasidic story with a very powerful message. The story is, we go back to the founder of the Hasidic movement, the Baal Shem Tov, and we go back to his generation where there was a threat to his community. And in response to the threat, the Baal Shem Tov, it says that he used to have a very special place in the forest where he would go out and build a special kind of fire with a very specific prayer to accompany it. And then he would call out to Hashem for mercy, and the mercy would come, and then the community was spared. The next generation, there was a similar crisis facing the Jewish community. And this time, the successor to the Baal Shem Tov, the Maggid of Mezrich, would go out and he remembered the special place in the forest, but he didn't remember exactly how to build a special fire. So he went to the special place and he said the special prayer, and it was enough. Third generation was the Sasava Rebbe. He was the leader, and he, when facing crisis, he went out into the forest, but he didn't remember the special place, and he didn't remember what kind of fire to make, but he remembered the prayer, so the prayer was enough. And finally, we go down to the fourth generation and to the Rizhiner Rebbe, Rebbe Yisrael of Rizhin, and he no longer knew the special place in the forest. He no longer knew how to build the fire, and he didn't even know the specific prayer and words to say, but he remembered the story, and the story was enough. And according to this Hasidic tale, this teaching, the stories are enough, meaning they're equivalent to bringing down into the world the same kind of divine mercy, the same kind of blessing, just by telling the story itself. Today, what I'd like to do is go to the Parshat Re'eh. It means to see, not to remember, but to see. So I'm going to offer a little twist on the traditional interpretation of this story I just told, but through the eyes of the Parsha. The Parsha begins with Hashem wanting us to see today what Hashem places before us, the blessing and the curse. And the Hasidic commentary is, and this is a very deep commentary, the idea of seeing, recognizing blessing or curse depends a lot on the seeing. Meaning what is before you might feel like a curse could inevitably become a blessing, or what feels in your life like a blessing could lead down the wrong path. It could change you in a negative way. So the blessing could lead to the curse could lead to the blessing. And then you also have the idea that every blessing has a little curse in it, every curse has a little hidden blessing in it. But no matter what, it all comes down to perspective. And that's why the name of the Parsha and the first word that opens up the Parsha is Re'eh. That means to see. Hashem wants us to see what happened to the ancestors leaving Egypt, to see what happened to our parents and our grandparents and their stories. No, it's to see today. Re'eh Anochi Noten Lifnechem Hayom. Hayom means today, right now. So what I want to propose is a little bit of a different way of seeing in the eyes of today. And while remembering keeps the story alive, Hashem doesn't want your religious participation in life to merely be in remembering stories. Because then our Judaism, our spiritual and religious observance resembles a museum of relics rather than a phenomena that is happening right now today in the world. One of the more interesting verses that repeats itself in this week's Parsha is Hashem basically announcing that he doesn't want the Israelites worshiping on the high mountains. This is where the pagans used to do their rituals. They were called the high mountains. and the altars on the high mountains. But Hashem said, but rather I want you, rather than chasing high ecstatic experiences, is the way we would interpret it today, there's a different way to do it. There's a different way to worship. But it's the place that I will choose.
Bamot, the peak experiences. Hashem does not want us associated with the bamot. By definition, a peak is temporary. It is an extraordinary phenomenon that inevitably fades, often leaving behind a crash or spiritual dissatisfaction when mundane life resumes. Instead, Hashem instructs, only to the place, ha-makom, that Hashem your God will choose from among all your tribes to put His name there shall you seek, and there you shall go. The word the Torah uses is makom, which literally just means the place or the location. In Parshat Re'eh, the expression referring to the place, ha-makom, that Hashem will choose is repeated 16 times.
The place that I, Hashem, will choose is the place you go to. So the big question is, just give us the name of the place. Why do you have to give us the address, give us the destination? Say, Jerusalem. Why does the Torah say you need to stay awake, stay prepared, stay ready? Because the place that Hashem will choose will be the makom. The makom means the place where the divine encounter happens. When you have the answer sheet in your hands, there is no test. The test of staying awake, of heightening awareness. So when you don't have a defined destination, when you don't have specific forms to imitate, what's left is staying awake, spiritually awake, right? And what does that lead to? Finding your makom, finding your place. What place are we talking about? Where heaven and earth meet, where your upper and your lower come together and make contact as one. So that special place is going to be revealed differently in every generation. You know, in the Amidah, when we do the standing prayer meditation, Shmoneh Esrei, we say Elohei Avraham, God of Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, God of Isaac, Elohei Yaakov, and the God of Yaakov. We don't say, we could have just shortened it and said the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But we divided into the God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, not because there's three different gods. There's only one source, but each found their makom, their position, their place, and how to make connection. So the Torah tells us every time Avraham prayed, where did he pray? His makom was alahar, on the mountain. Anytime Avraham needed to speak to Hashem, it was on the mountain. The one time we see Isaac, Yitzchak, in communion with Hashem, speaking meditation, it was in the forest, and it was in the forest, in the fields. Remember when Rebecca was brought to him as a wife, he was meditating in the fields. And Yaakov, every divine revelation, it didn't happen on the mountain and it didn't happen in the fields. It happened during sleep. Where? In his home. In his home. How? Through dreams. This is how he had his divine encounter. 3 patriarchs, all of them paved the way to what we have today as our covenant with the Almighty, but each of them had a different makom. Not only did they have a different makom, but they had a different time of day which they chose to daven, which they chose to pray. What was Abraham's time of day? He always prayed early in the morning. Vayishkem b'boker. He woke up early in the morning. What was Yitzchak, Isaac? The afternoon, the middle of the day. And Yaakov, it was at night. That's where we get Shacharit, Mincha, and Mariv, right? So these are the 3 times a day, but each patriarch found their own place. Judaism doesn't require only copying, only imitating, only remembering.
The Baal Shem Tov knew the place, the fire, and the prayer. Later generations remembered less and less. Finally, all that remained was the story. But this week's Parsha refuses to let the story be the final ending. It reminds us, see. You must see for yourself. The Parsha says, to the place that God will choose. Not the place he chose for Abraham, not the place he chose for Isaac, not the place he chose for Jacob, but the place he will choose for you.
And so, my blessing for each and every one of us, going back to the original Baal Shem Tov story, is if you forgot the place in the forest where the Besht davened, you find your makom in the forest. You build your fire. You ignite your flame. You allow your own neshama, your own soul's words to come forth. And then we don't need only stories to remember, although we should remember each and every one of them. But you become the next chapter in the book. Don't only rely on the past, but look at the revelation today. God bless, and may Hashem bless us that we have the eyes, we have the Re'eh to see today, Hayom, how to differentiate between blessing and curse. And that requires chokhmah, ubina, wisdom, and positive understanding, positive differentiation, positive discretion, and coupled with wisdom, so we can find our path. Never stop learning the stories from the past, but couple it with the awareness of today, with Hashem pointing the way, what the next makom, the next moment and place where you're going to make your connection. Hashem bless, God bless. Love and peace to all of Israel. Am Yisrael Chai.